Tottenham Hotspur 2, Arsenal 3 in the North London derby on Sunday. Was you at the stadium? Wherever you watched it, what did you make of it? Were Spurs that poor? Were Arsenal that good? Or did we just gift Arsenal 3 points? Tune in as we do the reaction show. Good afternoon or even good evening and welcome to PRTV Spurs, Paxton Raw TV, your one channel for everything Spurs, whether we win, lose or draw, all your reactions, all your previews, talking points, you name it, we've got you covered. And today it is the North London derby reaction, Tottenham 2, Arsenal 3. Yes, it is a day or two late, but we always like to sit on the game, clear our thoughts, because if you do it straight away after the game, then you're going to get a lot of effing and blinding, a lot of angry people, and we just like to calm down, chill out a little bit and discuss the game. Joining me as always are my Tottenham PRTV Spurs colleagues, and wearing a very nice t-shirt today, Mr. Sean Earl, Tottenham Tifosi. Good evening, Sean. How are you?
Yeah, much more calm after 4 o'clock after 4 o'clock on Sunday from my perch in the South Stand, which unfortunately I saw 3 Arsenal goals scored in, and yeah, I'm a bit more sanguine about what happened. Very disappointing day. Always a disappointing day. Do not want to lose to Arsenal. But probably one of the strangest North London derbies I've ever been at. I remember my first ever game was a North London derby back in 1968. Yes, folks, I am that old.
You know what? We done the preview show. You was on your way to London. I thought you was out, but me and Shane done the preview show and we discussed, obviously, it's the North London derby. Form goes out of the window. It's about pride. It's about wearing that badge. It's about going onto that pitch and showing the fans and everyone around the world that you are playing for your club. You're playing in the North London derby and you're going to do everything blood and sweat to get the performance needed. Now, I said to Sam or Shane, basically, if they need any encouragement, all they had to do was watch that Everton-Liverpool game on Thursday, where Everton haven't beaten Liverpool since 2010 at Goodison Park, and they've not won for God knows how long, and they've done a job on them. They kept a clean sheet and they beat them 2-0. And it was all about pride. They know how massive that game is. And I'm sure the Everton fans, Liverpool fans, like the Tottenham fans do, Arsenal fans do, beginning of the season, the first 2 games they look at is the derbies. And that's all that matters to them. So going on that, Spurs coming off a absolute hammering, where we just did not turn up against Newcastle United. Before we go into the actual reaction and discussion about the performance, the team, everything else, I forgot what I was going to ask you now, Sean. What was I going to ask you? Oh yeah, 14-day break. When you knew there was going to be a 14-day break, Arteta was whining about it, saying that they play 4 times before they play Spurs, blah blah blah. Would you rather have a break of 14 days or play games? I know what I would do.
To be honest, at this time of the season, you'd want to be in a rhythm of playing regularly. I have to be honest, and I agree with Ange on that. the season has been disrupted. We've had a number of breaks where we weren't playing. You know, our own fault for going out of cups early and not being in Europe from last year. But it is true. It's like if you don't get into the rhythm of playing regularly every few days, you know, I think, you know, it tells, and I think effort changes. But there's no excuses for that. This is the game of the season. The game of the season. You know, and like it or lump it, we base everything on this, with the outcome of this game in particular, as well as the away game. We done very well in September. With a bit of luck, we would have won that game. But you know, it was obviously in the 14 days, Spurs just didn't do enough to prepare for what Arsenal were going to throw at us. And the sad thing is that they weren't particularly brilliant in actual fact. And in fact, you know, I'm not a fan of stats, but the stats are just incredible. You know, in the first half, where we lost 3-0, we were actually a better team statistically. We created more chances, more shots and goals, reduced their XG to the lowest level it's all been all season. Yet we handed them 3 goals. You know, and that's on this coaching team to sort out. But you know, knowing Ange as I do from his time up here at Celtic, I do, you know, that will improve. It improves in the second season wherever he's gone. So I'm, you know, annoyed, disappointed, but you know, if you want to have a rebuild, you don't throw the manager out, as so many of our, you know, our analysts on X, etc., are calling for today. It's bizarre. And you know what? There is something about the Tottenham fan base. It is very toxic. Very toxic.
The thing is, like you said, we had 14 days, right, after an absolute drumming against Newcastle United where nothing went right. You've got 14 days to fix it. Now, Eric Dyer's comments about Ange doesn't do anything defensively, tactics-wise. They don't look at the other teams. And Ange said, yeah, we don't look at how the other teams are going to play against us. So we don't prepare defensively against them. You've got 14 days. You're going to, like you said, you're coming to probably the game of the season, right? Tottenham Arsenal. All these narratives about we've got to stop them winning the league. I don't care what happens to Tottenham. We have to beat them. We have to stop them winning the league. I'm not for all that, right? Oh, yes, I want to beat Arsenal, but the sole emphasis is winning the game, not stopping them winning the league at all accounts. No, I'm not bothered. We just beat them. I don't care what they're doing, where they are, whatever, right? All right, the top of the league, yeah. But I wasn't one saying, you know, all this crap before the game, or we have to stop the title challenge, we have to halt them, we got to beat them. I just wanted to win the game. I don't care. You know, I don't care about the title. I just wanted Spurs to win. So Postecoglou, Ange and his team, they know we're playing Arsenal. Like you said, we know their strengths. We know Arsenal's weaknesses. They one of the top scoring tactical set-piece teams this season. Everybody knows that. They score from corners. They score from set pieces. Week in, week out, we're conceding from set pieces and corners. We're going to go into the goals because I want to talk to you about one or two. Well, one in particular, but we'll talk about that. So if you're going into a North London derby, what potentially the biggest game of the season, then why in them 14? What did they actually do in them 14 days? I would have loved to be a fly on the wall, because looking at that game on Sunday, it feels like, to me, I don't know about you, but I don't think we've done anything apart from the usual, because the frailties at the back were there again, as always, and we'll talk about that. So it sort of leaves question marks. I mean, I'm not saying get rid of Postecoglou, get rid of everybody else, but if you can't get your players up for it, and yourself and everybody else up for your probably potentially the biggest game of the season, then it's a bit worrying, because obviously he did say that I know the importance of a derby. I've done Rangers Celtic, so I do know. But did the players know, and did they drill that into them? Do you think some of them players didn't care? Because I was listening to the radio after the game on the way home, and they were saying like Tottenham should be paid half their wages because they only turn up for the second half for 45 minutes. They don't turn up for the first part. So why are they getting paid full wages? They should just be paid half a wages. And I had to have a chuckle, and I thought to myself, do you know what? It's quite true, isn't it? You're not turning up the first half. So just tell the manager or the chairman, all right, boss, just give us half the wages because we only play 45 minutes of football. But you know, there's a lot of stuff going on Twitter. There's a lot of meltdowns going on. I don't know about you, Sean. I'm not bothered about them lot. Yes, I want you to win the game. But what was your thinking behind that game? Did you want to stop them winning the league at all costs? Or did you just want your boys to turn up, win the game, and show some passion and pride?
Yeah, well, yeah, you want to win the game. You don't want to lose the game. That's literally it. You know, we had two possible outcomes, which would have suited me, to be honest, a draw or a win.
Yeah,
a win obviously is the one that you want, but you know, the one thing we didn't want was what they got. You know, and the sad thing is, in many ways, as you say, we presented it to them, but I'm not quite having this sort of that we didn't turn up. For the first 15 minutes, we were much in control. Even Arteta admitted that we were the better team in the first 15 minutes. It all turns, as these games do, on strokes of luck, on, you know, decisions by referees, on, you know, little mistakes. You know, I thought we started the game very well, to be fair. And, you know, obviously we had a disruption with the first half injury. We had, you know, we had Højbjerg showing why he's only won one of the 9 games when he started. And, you know, but I thought Kulu had a great game, and that was a surprise to me, but a welcome surprise that he was included. You know, it's just a bizarre, strange game that, you know, a team that, you know, stand a very realistic chance of winning the league, we got to subdue them for quite a bit, and it's only when presented them with easy, you know, set pieces that we failed to capitalise. You know, bizarrely, we were probably worse in the second half. I would say after half time, they had a measure of control. We actually scored against the run of play. Yeah. And, you know, and then it was a bit frantic, you know. But yeah, you know, certainly I want to talk about the referee. We'll do that.
We'll do that at the end because we'll talk about the referee at the end. I'm going to do it differently today, Sean. I'm going to do it differently today, right?
Okay.
Because the reason I'm going to do that is Dinosaur is saying here, evening, Sam, Sid, Sean, and the panel guests. Did your heart sink when you saw the team selection? I knew the game was lost. So today, let's start by that then, yeah? Mm-hmm. So I'm not going to lie. 1 o'clock, when my phone pinged and I saw the team lineup, obviously the team that I predicted, it wasn't. The back 5, it was a given because he'd already said Davies was going to start in his press conference. So no qualms, no issues with the back 5, correct?
No.
Right. Now, this is where, for me, it got interesting. Started Højbjerg, Bentancur, and Maddison. Midfield 3 for us hasn't been working in recent weeks. Maddison's been well off it. Bentancur's been hit and miss. And then he started Højbjerg. Listen, I've been saying that Højbjerg has been playing well when he's come off the bench. Yeah, 15, 20 minutes to go. You've said it, Sam said it. Last couple of games, he's come off the bench. Basuma's been poor. So what does he do? He brings in Højbjerg. Now, this comment by Dino again. How bizarre. Eves loves playing against Woolwich. EPH doesn't play well under pressure and hasn't started games. Right? What was his thinking then there to start Højbjerg in the number 6 with Bentancur and Maddison? against Partey, Odegaard, and who else played in their middle for Declan?
I could only think that he thought that Højbjerg will provide some kind of defensive cover for Davis. You know, as the weak link on the back four, and that he would rely on the quality of Bentancur and Maddison to create chances. And you know, as I say, early doors it was okay, but you know, it comes, you know, as many game does, and you know, I'm sick and tired of saying it's fine margins. You know, you cannot defend corners like we did, and you know, the second goal is, I mean, that's probably the closest goal to what Newcastle scored against us. And there are, you know, there are mitigating circumstances, not very, still painful mitigating circumstances, but in there, but they are mitigating circumstances. But I mean, the thing is, people have been calling for Højbjerg to replace Basuma. So those who were, you know, dithing Basuma, and I didn't think he was playing very well. You know, I would have had, you know me, I backed Ollie Skip to play the number 6. Unfortunately, he is injured and couldn't be picked. So then, what do you do then? Do you put? You know, is there anyone that we in the squad that can do that role? Certainly, you know, wouldn't Sarr be an option there? I don't know. He seems to be able to play in all the midfield positions. So, yeah, I was surprised at Højbjerg. You know, you need pace against Arsenal, and Højbjerg hasn't got that. It's one thing he hasn't got. You know,
we know that. Everybody knows that he hasn't got pace. Postecoglou must know that. The training staff must know that. So, was it a matter of, I don't want to play Bissouma just in case he has a stinker in the North London derby and the fans get on his case, blah, blah, blah. But then you know that this guy is not mobile at all. So it like Dino said, it was kind of heart sinking moments because you're thinking, bizarre, right? Then he went with Kulusevski, Timo Werner, and Son up top. Now, I said on Friday in the preview show, he has to play Son on the left. Son has been atrocious in terms of holding the ball, playing as a number 9. He's not a number 9. We all know that, but week in, week out, he plays him. You said it the other day against Newcastle, he was at fault for 2 of them because he can't control the ball. And then he plays him up top. This thing about Tottenham, a player's injured, fair play. He's injured. You're not playing him. Fine. But then you're saying he's fit, he's available, and then you put him on the bench. I'm talking about Richarlison. Why don't you start him? It's a massive game. And I said to Sam in the preview, for shithousery, to get stuck in, Richarlison is the man against Arsenal because he'll cause all shit, as you saw towards the end of the game at the final whistle and everything. So why have you not played Richarlison up top, Son on the left, and he played Kulusevski, who I think played quite well on the right? What was the thinking behind that again? And we all know you're playing against the 2 top centre-backs in the Prem who have kept 18 clean sheets, I think. And you're playing Son up top against them. And like Dino said, the moment you saw this team, you're probably thinking, oh, shit. You know what I mean? All the optimism that you had just gone out the window at 1 o'clock when you saw that team lineup.
Yeah, I mean, I think probably Richarlison missing up front was the biggest. Yeah, that was the biggest, you know, cause to sort of like sigh deeply when the squad was announced at 1 o'clock. Yeah. As I was in the stadium, it just wasn't. You know, you just felt this is not going to be the team. Højbjerg, you know, if you look down the spine, you've got Højbjerg behind, Son in the middle. Son is a brilliant footballer. He's brilliant at what he does. I love him to bits. I love the fact he's the standard carrier for the club, but he's not a back to goal centre forward. You know, he's not that. And I'm sure, you know, when we talk about the game as it developed as the team changed, and he did, you know, fair play, he did make changes. We got better. And, you know, substitutions improved the team. We made it closer than it was at half time. Still doesn't wipe away the disappointment of the result. And to a certain degree, the defensive performance, but not a total disaster in my case. I mean, in my view.
Okay, so we have our very own Sam, Spurs for life, joining us. Sam,
how are we doing? You all right? Can you hear?
How are you?
I'm good, thank you. I'm all right.
Good. So we've just had sort of a start off just talking about the North London derby, the 14-day break after the Newcastle game. It looked like nothing's been done in them 14 days because you're playing Arsenal. It's probably the biggest game of the season. You know how good they are at attacking, set pieces, blah, blah, blah. And I just asked Sean, what was done in them 14 days? What's your perspective on that? And the other thing I said to him was, would you rather have had games than not have a 14-day break?
I guess it depends on circumstances. If you had injuries or had players that needed to rest or blah, 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 then you'd want the break, I guess. If you wanted to have continuity because we lost the last game 4-1 or whatever it was, you might want a game straight after. So I don't think there was too much in either or. I don't think there was much excuses because the manager didn't make excuses for the break. What they did say on Sky was, you'll see after the game whether the break was good. And they were talking about Arsenal in that sense, whether or not it was a good thing for them to have loads of games or would it have been better for them to have the break. So from my perspective, I don't think there was any reason to say, we should have been playing games, because I think we needed to have some of these players rested. Again, Richarlison didn't start, and we'll get into the team and stuff. So no excuses for that.
Right. So I sort of done it a little bit differently today because Dino posted this straight away. Yeah. Did your heart sink when you saw the team selection? I knew the game was lost. So I said to Sean, I'm going to change it a little bit today. And I started you off with a team selection. When at 1 o'clock you saw this team selection, Sam, and remember we done the preview show and we predicted Son on the left, Richarlison up top, Bissouma in the middle and everything. When you saw that and Højbjerg starting in the middle, what did you think?
No, I didn't. I wasn't a fan of Bissouma starting. I called for Højbjerg to start. I did say that was been my midfield: Højbjerg, Bentancur, Maddison. People have different opinions about how that midfield three went. I thought of the three, in my personal opinion, Højbjerg was probably the best of them three. Bentancur obviously got taken off at half time, and Maddison didn't prove to be as effective as what I thought you'd be in a big game like that, whether or not that's due to the injury. But the surprise for me was not starting with Richarlison. Son starting down the middle, the best defense in the league, and Son can't play with his back to goal. He's not a number 9 in that sense to be able to hold the ball up, etc., etc. So it didn't make sense unless, of course, Richarlison wasn't fit. But then if he wasn't fit, should he have been on the bench and coming on after 60 odd minutes? Some of the things didn't make sense to me. Kulusevski starting on the right, and then when we saw the substitution, then Ben Johnson, what's his name? Oh, I forgot.
Johnson.
Yeah, Brennan Johnson, not
Brennan.
Ben Johnson. Brennan Johnson then came on and went straight onto the left-hand side. Again, didn't make sense. We know he's best on the right. So there was a lot of things in that, but I wasn't overly concerned about the midfield. We knew what was going to be for the back four. But the front three, I think, could have been, in hindsight, could have been different.
I was saying to Sean as well, this Richarlison situation, the player's been injured, he's come back, manager said he's fit and he's playing, then why are you not playing him? Why are you leaving him on the bench? We know Son is not a number 9 he cannot play with his back against the defenders. His control is lacking at the moment. He's one of the top players, right, in world football, but that number 9 role doesn't suit him. So when your striker's fit, why not just starting from the offset? Because he's the type of player with the shithousery, get in their faces. Somebody who knows he can cross the ball, he can head the ball, he can cause issues. Play Son on the left where he's more comfortable. Why not do that? Why just? This is what I don't know. We do this all the time. Players come back and we put them on the bench, and then you bring them on when the game's done, or kind of thing. And like, go on, lad, go and come back, go and get us something from 3-0 down or something. It's just quite a bit bizarre, don't you think?
Are you asking me or Sean?
Yeah, you. I've asked Sean.
Oh, sorry. Well, obviously, because I'm late. That's the reason why. It doesn't. Again, having coached and managed at a lower level, I'm not saying I'm a Premier League level, but certainly at a lower level of football, if somebody isn't fit to start, then they're not fit, in my opinion. I ain't got this 80%, 70%, 60%. It doesn't make any sense because things can happen in the game. Let's say Son got injury after 5 minutes. Then what? If he's not fit enough to play, then he wouldn't have brought him on anyway. So he'd have brought somebody else on. So the whole thing didn't make sense if he's not fit. He said it. I say he. Ange said in the press conference that these guys trained and they were fit.
Exactly.
Remember, he was close to starting in the last game. I think, wasn't he on the bench last time, Richarlison?
No, I don't think he was.
At Newcastle. Okay, fair enough. But he said he was close at that point. And I expected him not to be in the squad for Newcastle so he could be in the starting 11 for this game. Because as I said, we're playing the best defence in the league. We tried to put crosses in. When was the last time? I don't remember the last time I saw Son score a header. I don't remember. So when you're trying to throw crosses in for someone who's not ahead of the ball, who can't really get up and do that sort of things, 1 versus 2, the best defense in the league. This is again the performance. We'll get into that, but it's things like that which I can't understand. It doesn't make any sense. Werner came off after what, 10 minutes, and then you put Johnson on the left.
Yeah.
Come on.
We'll discuss all that as well, right? We'll discuss all that because it's, I don't know. It's
I haven't calmed down, by the way. It's getting me riled up now because, like I said, if you look at the performance and you look at the goals that were scored against us, terrible goals, because we've seen them all before. What we done, Arsenal let us back in the game, but we took our chances in that sense in the second half. But the game was done. They were in second gear.
Yeah.
We weren't going to win that game. We weren't. I don't think, because Arsenal could have upped it if we'd have got the equaliser, depending on when we got the equaliser, of course. So, again, hindsight is great. So,
first off then, lads. Sean, I'll come to you. 72% possession to their 28% possession. If you said that to someone, 72% possession and 28% to Arsenal, what was the score at halftime? Somebody probably would say, well, Tottenham must have been winning. 8 shots, they had 4. We had no shots on target in that first half. And I'm assuming they're ruling out the Van der Ven goal as a shot on target. Arsenal had 2 on target, of which
they scored 3. Great, isn't it?
Well, remember, we scored 1 for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That was only, it was tongue in cheek. That's all it was.
Yeah. We have 4 off target. They had none off target. 5 shots inside the box and 3 outside. They had 3 outside, inside, or 1 outside. 350 passes we had, 91% percentage. They had 137 with an accuracy of 76%. 179 passes in the opposition box. They had 40. I think that's meant to say half. They had 40 in our half. We had 20 touches in their box. They had 8 in our box, and we were 3-0 down, Sean, at halftime.
What was that? Start above passes in opposition box, or was that passes in opposition half?
That's passes in opposition half is 179 Tottenham, and they had 40. And the bottom one is touches in the box. And Sean, we were 3-0 down. But looking at that, stats tell you something different, don't they?
Yeah, and as I alluded to before Sam arrived, it's one of the strangest North London derbies I've ever been to, because our high line put them under pressure. Even Arteta said that was the most difficult game that they've had to do. We reduced their XG to less than 1, which is the highest scoring team in the Premier League. We were very successful in establishing control of the game early doors, but we were outdone by errors. And you can't give a team at Arsenal errors. Now, for me, there's also some, we're not going to talk about it now, but I think there's some mitigating circumstances in terms of the person in black who was in the middle of the field. But I'm as I say here, 2 days later, I'm much more sanguine. I'm gutted. I'm disappointed that we lost the game. I don't want to lose this game, but that for the vitriol that's been brought down on our manager and on our system, I think is absolutely shameful. Absolutely shameful. And our fan base get what they deserve, because they want to rebuild, but they're not prepared to wait for the rebuild. They're not prepared to concede that rebuild is going to be painful, and days like Sunday will happen.
Yeah, I think you're right. Days like Sunday will happen where, and how many times have we said this, Sam, Sean, where we've been the better team at home, but one silly mistake or one lapse of concentration or something along the lines, and boom, them teams
we were
are
a better team against West Ham. West Ham have get a goal awarded, which we had disallowed.
Yeah.
On Sunday.
Yeah.
The Bowen goal was offside.
Yeah.
And yet it's given. Ours was not was offside and not given.
Yeah. Sam, first off performance then.
I'm not gonna be funny, but I've seen that many times. As I keep saying, the important thing to put up there is the score, because that just looks great. It looks fantastic, but it was 3-0 at half time. We didn't have a shot on target. I've seen that before on more than one occasion, and this is against our fiercest rivals. I could understand if it was really tight and it was an open game. It was pretty much, us going at them. Again, we can play in between the boxes, but we are not effective at this moment in time in both boxes. We're not effective defending in the box, and we're not effective clinical, in my opinion, in the attacking side. So again, if you give Arsenal, as Sean just said, if you give Arsenal head starts, I don't expect us to then be able to then come back from 3 goals down, which we nearly did. It could have been a draw. But I'm going back to the fact that if we're saying, with the offside goal, well, if Arsenal did that or Arsenal did that, they could have probably got a few more goals as well. So it's all semantics when we start doing all of that sort of stuff, because the scoreline was 3-0. Now, we lost 2-1 to West Ham at home. We lost 4-1 to Chelsea at home. We lost 3-0 away to Fulham. So in London derbies, at this moment in time, we're not doing too great. And I don't know what that's down to, because if I'm looking at it from a football perspective, those are the games that you're going to be up for. We all look at the 2 games, the most important games of the season: Arsenal home, Arsenal away. Arsenal home, the Arsenal game that we played, again, I put that down to the fact that we were playing early on. And yes, we did surprise them. We even surprised them on Sunday. But you know what? They gave up the ball. And people can say, we were pressuring them. But if Arsenal wanted to put it on us, if we'd have got that goal back from Van der Ven, I don't think they would have played in exactly that same way. They wouldn't have been under that pressure, because they would have changed their game. They were comfortable, but being under pressure. But you can be under pressure and be comfortable because they can defend. They defended well. They really did. So again, there's something in what we do from a set piece perspective that needs to be looked at. And we also need to look at what personnel is playing in certain positions, in certain games. You can't put somebody who can't play back to goal, who can't header, against the best 2 defenders in the league. Doesn't make sense.
And as Inner Hype is saying here, stats show progress without being quick enough hitting the space and turning possession into result. I think Good Beats is saying here as well. I think we had 2 chances from Romero before they scored, and Arsenal just sat back, let us have the ball. But this team is way ahead of schedule. It needs time. You know what? I think we done well. Yeah, like you said, first 20 odd minutes, and then obviously it's a corner. I don't know. Could it be done better? Could we have marked it better? Probably, yeah. We didn't realize at the time it was an own goal by Højbjerg, and then obviously when I looked at it, it was an own goal by Højbjerg. I've seen a lot of people questioning the keeper for that, saying that he should have been off his line, he should have come for it. I know. And then looking back at that, I'm like, you know what? Højbjerg's gone for the header. He's come off his head.
Keeper couldn't have gone for that ball.
Keeper and gone exactly.
Keeper,
you know, and it's one of them. Even if the keeper come out for it, it's come off your own player. So that sort of gave them, like you said, the heads up to thinking, oh, here we go. Because straight away they went into the corner, started doing the huddle and all that kind of stuff. Then we had the Van de Ven goal, which I don't know. I mean, come on, who wants to talk about that one? Because I've had so many debates with Arsenal fans, and they were like, "Oh, he was just touch offside." Thingies when the ball. I said, "But how can he hit two Arsenal players and then, well, he was offside?" Gabriel's bum sort of saved him. If it was a little bit bigger, he would have been offside. But I said, "Yeah, but the ball's come off two Arsenal players, and he's ran on to score." What did you make of that one, Sean?
To me, it was the inconsistencies. I indicated earlier, same thing happened against West Ham. The goal stood. Same happens to us, and the goal doesn't stand. It's one of those things. I think, I think we would have given them a lot more of a game if we'd gone to 1-1. I think Arsenal were under pressure. Even when they got 1-0, it was very lucky that they got 1-0, although didn't help that Højbjerg let his player get goal side of it, and maybe ease him so that he's a little bit off balance when he's trying to make the header. Yeah, I can't blame Vicario for that, but I just knew, I just felt it was going to be offside, and it took another one of those torturous, long VAR interactions, and it was. I don't know whether that was the one bit of adversity, but I thought we picked up the game again, and we put pressure on them, and then we need to talk about the second goal.
Oh yeah, we will. Let me just get Sam's take on the first goal, and then also the Van de Ven goal.
Okay, so from a technical point of view, in terms of I'll go back to the header. We were out of position. We're doing zonal marking, and if you watch what they did, I didn't notice it at first in the game because when you're there at the stadium, it's a bit intense. But when you watched on Match of the Day, they highlighted what it was. They highlighted where the players were. Now, if you're marking zonal and you're watching the ball, you have no clue where your players are if they're in the position that they were. So that again, we're 6 on in terms of conceding. Whether or not that's good or bad in terms of where we should be, I don't know, because we haven't got a set piece coach. Anyway, going back to that, the header was no fault in terms of Vicario, but the setup was wrong, in my opinion. You've got to start marking certain players. You have to. They've got Havertz, they've got Gabriel, and they've got Saliba. They've got a big team. They've got some tall players in their team, and they've scored the most goals from set pieces.
Exactly.
It doesn't take rocket scientists to tell me that you need to do something slightly different in order to defend against that. Now, whether or not it's when you're marking zonal, you have a little bit more of this and doing some of that so you can see the runner coming across. You can't just watch the ball. Now, the ball didn't go into the middle of the goal anyway. The ball went to the front post. And Tomiyasu, again, it's little things like that. He kind of eased him. So his body was out of position. So he's trying to meet the ball and it goes in. That was unlucky. But still, the setup wasn't right from a technical perspective. The Van de Ven goal, now, again, the technical side of things, if the ball's played deliberately by the opposition, it's not offside. But they classed it as ricochets. Now, whether or not there's VAR inefficiencies, sometimes you get them, sometimes you don't. But technically, if it's a ricochet and it's just someone makes a block and it's not a deliberate pass back, he can't be offside. He's offside if it's played deliberately, or not played deliberately, shall I say. So yeah, we can talk about it and the margins and all the rest of it. It was unlucky in that sense, but it wasn't given. Other teams have had such unlucky things, and we haven't had a Liverpool scenario this season what they had when they came to our ground. So again, we can moan about it, but there's other teams that have had worse.
Yeah.
So take it on the chin, get on with it. VAR doesn't do us favors. Mike Oliver doesn't do us favors. We know that, but you have to get on with the game.
Yeah,
we did.
We did, exactly. And then we come back, like you said, Romero done quite well. And, you know, so this second goal, then we're going to talk about it because I know you wanted to talk about it, Sean. I don't know who you is, but you is saying here, after Kulu got clipped in the box, Madders had the ball. Instead of trying to create something, he threw himself to the floor, leaving the ball for Arsenal to put a ball over the top for Saka to score. Right? Agree? I don't know. I want your say on that. I would also talk to me about, okay, should you have been a penalty? Then Madders, then how the hell have they got that much space? A Newcastle scenario again, where you've left a player like that. Isn't there someone there supposed to be marking him? Because you could see players were there, but did not one of them say, whoa, 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 look at Saka over there.
Right, okay. Kulu is a penalty every day and twice on Sunday.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Maddison could have been a penalty. But having seen Kulu go down and not get a penalty, I can understand why he's over-exaggerated to try and get a penalty. It's probably less clear, but it could have been a penalty for Maddison as well. It's, you know, Rice was pretty wild on the edge of his box several times during the game, as we all later did attest to. But then, the problem is, in order to make the case for a penalty in the days of VAR, players have to remonstrate with the referee, and the problem is that leaves you vulnerable. And it left us vulnerable to that height, ball hiked up the field, which Saka got, and Davis made, which for an experienced player is unforgivable, a terrible error. There's no way Saka should have been allowed to come inside.
Yeah,
he should have been shown to the corner.
He's right.
He's right. Either that or, but it was it, and that and of course that was lethal. But in those 30 seconds, 45 seconds, whatever it is, you have a 2-goal swing. Instead of Son having a penalty to make it 1-1, it's now 2-0. And I have to say again, it's a stroke of good fortune, not helped by what I thought was one of the worst refereeing performances at White Hart Lane this year. Absolutely shocking by Oliver. And what a surprise, he's on VAR this weekend, because he was shocking. Five fouls by Tomiyasu.
Yeah.
5 fouls
Not
by
yellow card.
Tomiyasu, no yellow card.
Yeah.
Kulu pulls the player back, tactical foul, Rodri style foul, yellow card.
Do you remember
5 minutes earlier, Havertz did exactly the same thing, no yellow card. I'm not one for conspiracy theories, not less in the field of politics. But is this guy saying we need this result in order to keep the title race going? Because I was absolutely livid at what the referee was doing. And, when he finally gave us a penalty, and equally, it's also been reported by Robbie Earle on NBC that VAR mentioned to Oliver that he should maybe have a look at the Kulusevski trip, and he refused.
Yeah.
Now I'm incandescent at that. I want the game to be refereed on the field, not as Ant indicated. He was livid in his post-match conference, not officiated hundreds of miles away. But yes, we should have had a penalty. It should have been 1-1, different game. But Davis needs to be smarter. Needed to be much smarter. And I'm disappointed because generally I thought he had quite a good game.
Do you remember? I don't know if it was a North London derby or was it Chelsea? Can't remember. Eric Dyer got booked in the first minute, if you remember, for a foul. Right in the first minute, the first foul of the game, and they booked Eric Dyer. Tommy Yasu done exactly the same within 2 minutes, but no, doesn't book him. And then, like you said, Sean, it continued.
5 fouls.
They weren't fouls that you could probably say, they were cynical fouls, clear, blatant fouls where he stopped play, he stopped the player, he's booted the player. So it was an interesting one, that one. Sam, what did you what was your take on the penalty Kulu one, and then the lack of understanding from the players, all standing there mourning, whatever, whilst Arsenal then went past goal?
So we had both things in terms of, you know, the situation where Kulusevski got the tap, should have gone down, but he tried to stand on his feet, trying to be honest. Maddison went down because he got a touch and he was trying to get a penalty. So again, Mike Oliver had an absolute mare game. Looking back and seeing that VAR, they tried to help out. If they reported to what he said on NBC's right, then that's why he's not doing any refereeing this weekend. So that's terrible. Taking all that aside, I can't remember seeing from the stadium perspective whether or not players were remonstrating with the referee, because the play looked like it went on quite quickly. Kulu didn't look like he was remonstrating, because at the time I didn't think it was a penalty, because I didn't think he got touched that much. But looking back, no. So if the players were static and stopped, that's down to them. That's you know, whether or not the referee could have maybe stopped, I don't know. But there was still 3 passes before it got to. It was the 3rd pass where it got to Saka. Okay, Saka wasn't wide when the pass was made to him. He was slightly to the right of centre. What that means was, and when he got it, he hasn't played that well in the last few games, Saka, but he's a threat. He's an international player that scores goals, and he's very much a threat in that left-hand side. So I always thought, once you get one-on-one with Ben Davies, or any player, in fact, you know, Saka 1v1, if you look at why Saka hasn't performed that well recently, is because they get 2 out to him a lot of the time, because they know he's going to try and cut back. So what you try and do is you have 2 players in there to kind of show him, but if he does come inside, you've got another player there. That wasn't available because of the transition. So once it got to that point, it was a problem, because there was enough space for him to go down the right side. He's got more pace than Ben Davies, so we'd have possibly beaten him for pace there. In my opinion, in my personal opinion, I don't think there was a lot Ben Davies could have done apart from foul. Then he probably would have got sent off, because he would have been the last man. Because Van der Ven, was he close enough to get across? Maybe, possibly. But then when the play did develop and he did come inside, I think Van der Ven could have possibly got there a little bit quicker. Because if you look when he scored, it was fractions for him. But again, it's those fine margins. You're right in what you're saying. Probably try and show him down the right side. But I think there was too much space in terms of the gap between the Saka and the goal that he possibly could have got by and got a right-footed shot. Now, I'm not going to blame Ben Davies entirely for that. Yes, he's not our first choice. If it was a doggy, could he have done better if he was 1v1, potentially? But Ben Davies has played well against Saka previously. But anybody playing against him 1v1 is going to struggle. So, again, I'm not going to go to that length to say it was his fault. But, yeah, I still think there was things that we could have done. We could have stopped that pass from Havertz, potentially. But once it goes over there, once it's in that space where we know it's going to be in the channels, it's 1v1s all the time, and we are going to have problems. We've seen it many, many times this season.
And then, obviously, Havertz's goal. Obviously, again, the keeper's getting a bit of mention again. Yeah, I know, Sean, I know. But when I watched it again on slow motion, they had a corner. All their players were at the back post. About 5 of their players were at the back post, maybe 6. Again, a team that scores from set pieces consistently, because Declan Rice puts in a ball. 6 of their players at the back post. All our players marking the grass. Oh, sorry, zonal marking. Yeah. When that ball played in, I was watching the film Mannequin. All of them stood, not make a move. I think they were playing, what's that, when they play with music and then you stop and you got to stand still. Yeah. All of them run in and they score. And I had to watch it time and time again. And I even watched it on Match of the Day, and they were like, what are they doing? 5 Arsenal players at the back post, and not one person has made a move and given Havertz that goal. And then they showed the shithousery from Ben White. How is that not a foul on Vicario? Wasn't it West Ham's goal got disallowed for something? Chelsea's goal the other day got disallowed for a stupid foul like that. Vicario's been pushed by Ben White, and he's also tried to unstrap his glove. Right? Have you seen that bit about the strapping his own? Have you seen that?
That was on the first goal.
Yeah, there's footage of him actually trying to unstrap Vicario's glove. And then he's pushed him, right?
Someone should be stepping on Ben White's toes by accident.
That's right. Exactly.
In the lead up to that.
Exactly.
Once you start doing that, he won't do it again in a hurry.
Exactly. So
you just, even Vicario step backwards deliberately, oh, sorry, I stepped on your toe. Leave me alone, you fucker. I'm sorry, excuse my French there, but Ben White is a foul. It's a foul.
It's a foul.
It's like the Man City goal in the cup. It's a foul. But you can't excuse that defending. They can't excuse it. And you know what? We miss Harry Kane, and we won't miss Harry Kane just for his goals. We miss him for the fact that he would defend that near post. He was probably one of the best defenders in terms of, meeting corners. I lost count of the number of corners he cleared for us last season, and 30 goals. So it's shocking. Again, not seen by VAR, not seen by the referee. But again, it was our fault. We missed the cross.
Yeah.
No,
that's what I'm saying.
I don't mind having players at the near post, because effectively what Arsenal will be doing will be going for a flick on to the players at the back post. So if you meet the ball at the near post, then that flick on doesn't happen. But we missed it. And I know people are saying, oh, zonal marking, but people have done long studies on defending at corners, and zonal marking, it just knocks man-to-man marking into a cocktail.
It's just
in defending goals. It's just that we're not very good at it.
Yes, we're not,
and that's on the squad. That's on the coaching staff to sort.
And the other thing I'm going to say as well, before I let you have your say, Sam, that Liverpool game at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, and my son said it in the stadium. They said, Dad, that Liverpool game has cost us the season, because we are not going to get anything from any referee. Yeah, because that Liverpool game, whatever's happened, we marked our collars now, and next weekend you watch at Anfield.
Well, I kind of have to disagree, because Mike Oliver's been demoted effectively. He's not refereeing this weekend. Referees, they can't be seen to be doing that, because we have VAR, because we've got so many cameras. If they do try and do things like that, as with the penalty, Mike Oliver missed somebody being kicked in the balls. You can't miss that. He was right there.
Exactly.
So again, that's a mistake from him. They know in Stockley Park and wherever they are managing these referees, they know he's fucked up. And I'm not going to excuse my friends, because
even Declan Rice expected the penalty to be given.
Oh yeah, because he kicked a man in his balls. You kick a man in his balls. What do you expect in the penalty area? Mike Oliver saw it clearly, didn't think it was a penalty. So that, again, we can look at all that rest. So if they're starting to, because Liverpool got a free, didn't get that goal, we've got marked cards now, because then they're going to get their cards marked, because they're not going to referee, because that's the professionalism of the game. So take that aside, the defending of the corner, zonal marking does technically give you better stats in terms of man marking. But a combination of zonal and man marking is what you should do if you've got a team, A, we not very good at defending set pieces, and B, not very good at scoring set pieces. We haven't got as many headers of the ball, which we should do. And when you're playing a team that is very good, I think you have to change something. So I don't think you can just go zonal. And you're right in what you said, Sean. We're not very good at it. take responsibility. I don't care if the manager has told you to do this. You conceded a goal. You've conceded more than one goal this season against this very same thing. Take responsibility, particularly in that game. Right, Romero took responsibility in the second half. I'm not quite sure if the manager told him that you need to go and play centre forward because he scored the goal from a centre forward position. So he's taking responsibility. And the manager said after the game, we need more players like Romero. I don't know what context because I haven't seen the interview, but he said we need more players like that. So I'm looking at it thinking, players who take responsibility. We've got some 6-foot+ people in that squad. Mark their players, mark their best headers of the ball. It's not, to me, it's not hard to do if you consistently getting these things right. Okay, captain, come in. Saliba's very good. Gabriel's a fucking threat in the air. Mark him, get touch tight, do something about it. We'll probably rest of you zonal. But when you play zonal, I think it devalues the responsibility of somebody, because if it comes into your area and it's slightly to the right, oh, it's not quite in my area. No, you've got to take responsibility. That's the problem with us. I don't think we've got that about us, whereas the shithousery side of things that Ben White was doing, that's been taught to them. They've been told to do that. You think Ben White's woke up in the morning, what, I'm going to take his glove off? Fuck no, he's not that fucking clever. He's been told to do that. Shithousery is part of the game. We need to get up to speed with that. As we were before, I think we're too nice.
Yeah, and the thing is, if he's doing that, then one of them has to go and counter him and do the same to him. But no, they're too busy standing like musicals because someone stopped the music and they weren't allowed to move. If he's doing it, you do it back to him. You need someone like Richarlison probably would have given it to him. Yeah, probably would have got sent off. But at least
Richarlison was giving it to Gabriel. Gabriel's a teammate of his from Brazil. Do you know what I mean? So
but there's issues between those two. Yeah,
is there history? Okay, fair enough.
Yeah,
fair enough.
Right, so that was that then. 3-0 at half time and madness. Second half then, a game of two halves. And I thought, I was jumping up and down because I thought, yes, we finally scored a goal in the Paxton Road end. And then the bastards disallowed it. Anyway.
I forgot you didn't get a goal.
Hold on a second. See, I didn't see it at the time. But remember, Romero had a header against the post.
Against the post, that's right.
Have you seen the footage?
Yeah.
Have you seen the footage?
He got pulled back.
He got absolutely assaulted by Partey.
I know.
That was another penalty.
I know. Listen, let me just tell you now. One more game for them to score on the Paxton Road end for me, please. 2 more home games.
2 more home games.
Hell. Please. Right. So then second half, obviously, 51% possession. It was, possession-wise, it was closer because obviously they then tried to sew up the game. Spurs had 7 shots. Arsenal had 5. We had 2 on target, 2 goals. So weird, isn't it? They had 3 on target, 3 goals. Well, 4. 3 goals. We had 2 on target, 2 goals. They had 1 on target in the second half. We had 3 off target. They had 1. Shots, 5 inside, 2 outside. They had 5 inside and none outside the box. Passes, 214 to their 87%. They had 207, 85%. We had 101 passes in their half. They had 92 in ours. We had 17 touches in their box. They had 20 touches in our box. Sam, second half then, closer in terms of possession-wise, but we won the game 2-0 second half.
Now, these stats are more akin to what I was expecting as an overall stats for the game itself. Us to slightly be ahead of the possession-wise. Arsenal, if they're playing the way that they do, getting that. If you look at them stats, they're quite close. There's not that much in them. They upped their game in the second half, although they think they didn't up. No, apologies. They did up the game. They got the goals in the first half, not playing as well as they could have. They did play better in the second half, Arsenal, and I think we took our chances, should we say, in that second half. We had to be a bit more aggressive. So yeah, you saw Romero playing higher up the pitch, and obviously they gave us that one with David Raya, and the penalty was one. But again, if you're really pushing when you're 3-0 down in a North London derby to only have 2 shots on target, you can kind of see where we're lacking a little bit. And we did have more opportunities in terms of the ball in areas, but we were making some crosses. We were crossing so much. And again, we weren't effective from them crossing. Even when Richarlison come on, you know, whether or not he's still not up to match speed, obviously that could be the case for him. But we didn't look like scoring from headers. So why we persisted with the crosses, I don't know. Yeah, it was a half where we could look at it two ways. Arsenal maybe took their foot off the gas initially, but they had more possession. Maybe we were playing a little bit more direct. I don't know, because it's less passes in the opposition's half, as we've seen from the first graphic about that. So the game was slightly different, but it was a weird North London derby. The fact that I didn't see enough in that second half, when you see only 2 shots on target and only 1 shot on target for them, it wasn't a manic second half. You can excuse them; they were 3-0 up. Us, I think we should have been a little bit more gung ho, in the phrase I would like to use.
Yeah, them second half stats, Sean. I was expecting, like Sam said, I was expecting more than 7 shots and at least more than 2 shots on target, because we were 3-0 down. We had to go for it. I was quite disappointed. Yes, we've got 2 goals, but the crossing, like you said, Sam, why are you crossing the ball when you've got 2 6-foot they're defenders? We haven't, apart from Richarlison, we don't have anybody else. There was a few times where, especially last 15 minutes, where Johnson done everything right and then the ball into the box and you're like, what the fuck? There's no one there. Why? You know what I mean? Did you expect a little bit more in the second half in terms of shots on target?
I think for the thing that really eventually won Arsenal the game was that first 15 minutes after half time, where they just exerted a control. They had their 1 shot on target, which was a brilliant save by Vicario with his feet.
Oh, that was a great save. That was a great save from Saka.
Yeah, from Saka. Yeah. But you know, it changes on the substitutions. You know, and the swap of Johnson from left to right.
Yeah,
he was much more effective there. Tomiyasu was crapping himself. They had to double up with Martinelli to deal with Johnson, and Arsenal were trying to see out the game, and yet we scored 2 goals. You know, and one of those was down to a double pivot pressure by Richarlison and Romero.
Yeah,
I have to say, Romero took that goal with aplomb. I tell you, that was a striker goal. I mean, Harry Kane would be proud of that. Give the goalkeeper the eyes and put it in the other corner. Absolutely brilliant. And then, as the game was, I had to leave with 5 minutes ago because I was dying for a piss. So I was sitting in there, and I'm having a piss, and someone said they're giving us a penalty. I thought, oh, bloody hell. So I had to watch the penalty from the concourse on the big screen. So, you know, I mean, the last few minutes were just, as you say, ineffective crossing, no variance in the crossing, you know, no crosses to the back of the goal, the goal area, or no, you know, or they should have been low. They have to be low.
Yeah.
Look what happens when you throw in a low cross. You could get a defender slicing the ball into his own net or things like that. It was, they were too easy to deal with. Raya. I mean, we made Raya look like a good goalkeeper, and you can't help but laugh at that comical error to give us our first goal. But yeah, 3-0 down at half time. The game was done. The only good thing is that we took some of the shine off of the fact that we only lost by the 1 goal in the end. But
overall, overall 62% possession, Tottenham, 38% to Arsenal. 15 shots to their 9, 2 on target. They had 3 on target. 7 shots off. They had 1 off target. 10 inside, 5 outside the box shots. They had 8 inside, 1 outside. 564 passes at a success rate of 90% for Tottenham. They had 344, 81%. 280 passes in their half. They had 132 in ours, and 37 touches in their box, 28 in our box. So overall, for a North London derby, even though it was 3-2, quite disappointing in terms of shots, really. 2 on target and 3 on target. What do you make of the overall stats, Sam?
How many yellow cards were there in this game?
So they had 1 and we had 3.
Okay, fair enough. So it's not really a feisty affair, as you could say. It wasn't really a feisty affair. And I said in the preview, I think I said, we've got to make it like the same way that Chelsea did us at the Bridge when we were chasing Leicester. That's how we had to make that game, regardless, because that's what we should have just done. And we got the goals, but to be fair, I didn't think we didn't bully them. Looking at these stats now, again, it shows me clearly where our issues are. It's in both boxes. It's definitely in both boxes. We're not getting enough shots off on target. We've got plenty of touches in the box to get shots off on target, but there's maybe one more pass. And then we're ineffective by getting the ball into the box when you're crossing to 2 6-foot-plus players who are the best defense in the league. I've mentioned it 3 or 4 times already. It doesn't make sense. We might as well have reverted to what we were previously doing, is trying to get to the byline and cutting back, as Sean's alluded to. And maybe if Werner was on, he might have done that a little bit more. But I think they would have dealt with Werner because, like I said, he's very one-dimensional. So if you cut off his supply to him, I just don't think he's got the nous to be able to do anything much. Son should have been on the left from the start. Charleston should have been in the middle, and Johnson should have. That would have been my start 11. Then you could have brought Kulu on to play in that 10 role, because Kulu played again. Was it 3 roles he played in that game? He played on the left. Sorry, he played on the right. Then he was on the left for a bit, was he? Or did he go onto the left at all? I can't remember. But he certainly played.
I remember him being on the left because
he certainly played in that number 10 role, didn't he?
Yeah, he played well in both roles. You have to admit. I thought.
Yeah, I'm not going to say Kulu had a poor game. Initially, I thought he wasn't in the game, looking at it from a stadium perspective, but I was trying to watch other players doing other stuff. But watching it on Match of the Day, Kulu actually had a decent game, I think. Johnson had a decent game. Son got better. Werner, well, he came off after a few. We just need to be better in both boxes. We got to. This stat about having 37 touches in the opposition box when you only get 2 shots on target, it's not good enough, in my opinion.
And you know, remember the Son chance in the first half. He's usually very good one-on-one.
Oh yes,
and he skied it over. You know, I mean that. You know, you can't afford.
Put your mortgage
you have to be clinical. You normally you'd put your mortgage on him on scoring that one.
Yeah. So, in terms of then the team substitutions, obviously, the first one was a forced substitution. So, where have I gone? Where's he gone? Where's he gone? Okay.
You put next to Kulusevski, that didn't happen.
No, he didn't. But Werner, it should have been Werner, yeah. And then obviously these are the substitutions. What did you make of the substitutions? What did they give anything to the game? Did it make it more effective for us? I know Star came on and did a lot of running.
I'll be quick on this one. Go on. If you want to go first, Sean, go Swain.
Sar was very good. I thought he was excellent. He brought the ball forward. He gave us more pace in the midfield. Yeah, I've no problem with that. Basuma had probably his best game in a long while when he came on. You know, he was obviously champing at the bit. Charleston again. He brought out the best in Son, because Son was moved to the left. And Son looked a different player, but he was out on the left. You know, and I think that, you know, I can't really comment on Lo Celso because he's been pissed about again by Ant. You know, if Maddison's not the answer, then you know you've got to play Lo Celso.
And why wasn't Lo Celso the first substitution after? Obviously the Werner got injured, but why wasn't Maddison was not having a good game? So Lo Celso should have come on a lot sooner, in my opinion. And then he came on for Ben Davies.
Well, you could have taken any of the 3 of the midfielders off at half time. He decided on Bentancur.
Yeah,
I would say that he got it right with Sarr.
Yeah, yeah. Sam?
Yeah, so there must be an issue with Sarr, possibly from a fitness perspective, because he was earlier in the season one of the first names on the sheet because of his energy, and we needed to have energy in that midfield. Højbjerg is not going to be that all around, but he does play in that six probably better than them other two does, certainly Maddison, and I think he's better in that six than Bentancur at this moment in time, although Bentancur plays for Uruguay in that position. But a lone six, Arsenal played a double pivot. I think we should have done that as well. We looked like, you know, Bentancur and who was it, as I said, Højbjerg, they were too far apart at times because, like I said, Højbjerg was trying to play in that role where he can go into the back three, but didn't do it effectively when we needed it to. But I don't think he had as bad a game as some people were making out about Højbjerg. Bentancur, I think, was a bit non-existent, so I could understand, but any of them three could have come off. But what I don't understand, if you're 3-0 down, surely you're going to bring more of an attacking substitution for a midfielder. Now, it would have made sense for me to bring on Lo Celso maybe in tandem with Maddison and maybe have the 1 and 2 in front as we've been playing anyway. But I think he got it wrong from the start, not having Sarr in that for the legs. Now, Sarr can't really do the number 6 role on his own, so I can understand why he took Bentancur off and tried to keep that shape. But in hindsight, again, if you're chasing a game, maybe you need 2 10s in there. And Lo Celso is getting effed about because I've heard that we're trying to get him signed up for extending his contract. Yeah. So it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't. How are you encouraging the player to want to stay at the club if in the biggest game of our season, he's not trusted to play in his best position?
Or is that just
make sense?
Is that just a ploy by Spurs to try and get more money out of whoever they want? But the one thing
we want to keep him. We want to sign him. We're not looking to get. I've read that we are looking to extend Lo Celso at Spurs.
But why would you? If you're Lo Celso, why would you want to stay if you're not getting game time?
Exactly.
Why?
Why would you? Why would you? It must be money. If it's down to money, just because we're going to pay him some money, you ain't going to get the best out of the player. We've seen what happens with players who just stay for the money at our club.
And if you're Lo Celso and you're watching Maddison playing shit, Bentancur's playing shit, Højbjerg's playing shit, Bissouma's playing shit, and you can't start a game, you're coming on with 5-10 minutes to go.
And Kulusevski's getting more opportunity in that position than you are, and that's your specialist position. I know Kulusevski can play there and is effective because of his jinkery and all. Jinkery, is that a word? His way to be able to play some passes and maybe beat a man. But I've seen Lo Celso do that. I've seen Lo Celso be effective from long range shooting.
Yeah. Exactly.
All the things that we needed to have to happen in that half, he's not playing. That makes sense.
And before I'm going to wrap up in a minute. Before we move on to just the league table, are we going to talk about Romero? Because my boy said to me, Romero seemed to be the only player on that pitch that actually wanted to score. He said to me, why don't you put him up top? Because he seems like he's going to be scoring more than any of our front three we're gonna. He was on fire. He was just, you know what he said on Friday, Sam? I want players to take the game by the scruff of the neck. Show me that they want to play for this club. Show the pride and everything else. He looked like he was well and truly up for it. How many times was he up top? He was like, I'm going to take this by the scruff of the neck. And like you said, Sean, the goal he scored, class, yeah, for a centre-back to do that. But how many times did he go up there? How many times was he trying to influence to get up there to try and get the ball? That's what we needed from every single one of them.
So can I ask a question on this? I'll ask it to both of you. Do you think the manager told him to do that role in the second half?
No. I think he's took it up on himself. And one more thing before you can answer that, Sean, as well. One more thing. Why not play Dragusin centre-back with Van der Ven and play Romero in that 6th role?
You ask it. I like
Sean?
to answer that.
All right, the original question was
about Romero.
Yeah, Romero, absolutely. You know, I mean, remember not so long ago there was some in our toxic fan base saying he's more interested in Argentina than Tottenham.
Yeah,
I tell you what, he's more than given an answer this season. Romero has been absolutely exceptional through most of the season. There are some things that annoy me the fact that he sometimes dawdles on the ball, and it takes away the the initiative. But on Sunday he was head and shoulders above everyone as the man of the match for me. I think he's he's really committed. You see his engagement on social media. He actually answered that one about the West Ham goal given and the Spurs one not given. He actually answered that to some ordinary punter on X. So Romero for me is. I mean, he's more of a captain. I'm not going to say that Ange didn't let him off the leash. I just think if you see what he said at full time, he said, "I need to get more of what Romero's got into the rest of
all of them." Yeah.
And so I would say that it was probably agreed. Again, Romero probably took it on board as well, and he got his just reward with the goal.
Absolutely.
I mean, it doesn't take away a very disappointing day, disappointing result. I think we should still clinch fifth.
Yeah.
And congratulations to Villa, because they have been the fourth best team in Britain in England this year.
David Clark is saying here as well, forgetting Romero misses, I thought he was absolutely immense yesterday. He was a warrior, by far the best player on the pitch. I can't disagree with that one. Sam, anything to add on that, Romero?
Yeah, I think Romero took. I don't know for sure, because obviously I'm not privy to what was said in the dressing room, but I think Romero took it on board himself to go and do that, because I've never seen it at any point in the season in the second half from the very start that he's done that under instruction, because we've been in situations where we've been losing games at halftime, etc., etc. So I think what it was. It's his personal pride. You can see if he's Argentine in that Latin spirit. If he was playing against Brazil for Argentina, that's the game he'd play. He'd think, I'm not having this. 3-0 down to our biggest rivals. Are you crazy? That's the attitude he seemed to have to me. And if 3 or 4 or more players had that attitude, we would have probably got away with a draw in that game. Maybe even picked something up, because it took that sort of level of effort to really get there. Now, we would have been more susceptible if we'd have properly thrown everything at it. But come on, when you're 3-0 down, we've had 4-1s and we've had whatever it's been this season. So we've had embarrassing scorelines, even though the performances don't necessarily equate to the scorelines sometimes. But in this game, the game that we all look at and say, "Yep, this is the one," when we know what was on the line in this for us and what was on the line for them, I expected more Romeros to be part of the playing staff, and it wasn't.
So 3-2 defeat going into Thursday's game then against Chelsea. Aston Villa are 4th on 67 points, 35 games. Spurs 33 on 60 points, 7 points behind, 2 games in hand. I would rather have the points than the games in hand, especially because we've got Chelsea and Liverpool next in 3 Thursday, Fridays in 4 days. Are we saying 4th is done now, boys? Are we saying 5th is where? Sean, you just said it. 5th is probably now where we're going to end up. But Man United and Newcastle are on. They could potentially catch us, but more than likely not.
It'd be travesty if either of them teams were to get above us to get 5th. It'd be a travesty for the end of the season, because Man United, we've seen what basket case they are, and they've got to play Arsenal, so they're going to drop points at some point in the rest of this run-in. And who else is behind them? West Ham? Who's it?
West Ham, Newcastle.
No, only United or only Newcastle or Manchester United got a chance of.
Okay.
Well, United can go. Yeah, United can get ahead of us. And Newcastle could be equal with us if we win the last, the games against the relegated teams, So
Newcastle have got 53 points on 34 games. Man United have got 54 points on 34 games. So they're 6 and 7 points behind us, and we've got a game in hand on both of them.
Yeah, they would pretty much need to win all their games, or not lose. Certainly, they'd have to win more than they draw, and I can't see either of those teams doing that before the end of the season. So again, if we were to not get 5th, that means we would have had to have lost a lot more games. And I don't expect us to lose against Sheffield United. I don't expect us to lose against Burnley.
Yeah.
Liverpool now is the game where I would like to see, well, firstly, Thursday against them lot, Chelsea. That's going to be a test. That's going to be a test, and I want to see that game first before commenting on the Liverpool game.
Yeah, and good beats is saying here, if we don't beat them lot on Thursday, he's leaving the country. Where are you gonna go? Good beats, because we might end up joining you as well.
I know where I'm heading.
Listen,
I was there a couple of weeks ago.
If them lot do the double over us and then Arsenal go on to win a league, I've already put it on record that I've got to go to another universe. I am not staying in this ether. I'm not staying here anymore. I'm going somewhere through a black hole, through a worm hole, whatever it is. I've got to leave. Can't stay here.
You know what? Them lot doing the double. Oh no, we drew with Arsenal, didn't we? Yeah, Arsenal. Yeah, no, yeah. It's going to be. What's his name's going to be? Somewhere far, far in the country lies Good Beats, Ent, and Sean, and Sam. Let's see.
We're all going to become modern day hermits.
Yeah, can you
in
imagine?
Some cave somewhere.
Mr. Attenborough.
There's a few of them up the west coast of Scotland, I can tell you.
Yeah, Mr. Attenborough.
No internet connection or nothing.
Absolutely. Right, lads. Thank you very much for joining me tonight. Thank you to everyone in the comment section. Good Beats, ENT, Inner Hype, Jews Nuts, David Clark. We've got
JJ,
Dinosaur, you, to me, you're everything, the sweetest song that I can sing. Oh, baby. Anyway, everybody, thank you very much, everyone. Thank you for all your comments. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for obviously joining us even after the North London derby. It's who we are. We are Spurs fans through and through. Win, lose, or draw.
It's part of the therapy.
Here.
It's part of therapy.
Absolutely.
It works.
It's part of therapy, and it's good to come on. I mean, we could have come on straight after the game and everybody would have been boiling. You know what I'm saying?
Come on. I don't think we could have.
Exactly. So it's good. It's good to have a couple of days off and then come back and chill. Right. Thank you, Sam. Thank you, Sean. Thank you, everyone. We will be back. You ain't got rid of us because Thursday night is Chelsea away. So hopefully tomorrow, if everyone is available, you boys, for a preview show.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Everybody in the comment section, make sure you join us. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, what you waiting for? Do it. Do it now. Okay.
And again, if people are available Friday, depending on what time, if people are available, we could do a talking points just on something.
And the reaction show.
Oh shit, yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. Time wise, we might have to do one in the we'll see.
Yeah. And then
if we can do it in the afternoon, that'd be good. But
and then, as they say, no rest for the wicked. We've got a game on Sunday, so we've got to do another preview for the Liverpool game. So it's all go. It's all go. We
all go on the PRTV.
I'm telling you. So PRTV Spurs are going to be busy. And I've got a wedding in Manchester this weekend as well. So it's going to be very busy. But I'll be here hosting, hopefully. So I hope all of you join us as well.
Luke at AFC. Big up. You okay? Yeah.
We're good. We're good.
Cheeky. That's very cheeky.
It's like that BT advert.
We pushed you.
It's good to talk. We're always here. We don't hide. We are who we are. We are Tottenham fans. Right, gents, it's that time because Champions League semi-finals on. Have a good evening, everyone. Take care. We will see you soon. Not even that one. Let's do that one.